is on.
Welcome back. Well, Anthony Albanese's successful meeting with Donald Trump has shut down any doubts we've led our relationship with the US wither. Here is the Prime Minister discussing our alliance just moments ago with a real spring in his step, it has to be said.
We got on very well. I spent almost 3 hours with the President. He's a friend of Australia.
Joining us to discuss today's headlines is ACT Senator David Pocock and Nationals Senator M.Canavan. Good morning to you both. Matt, a big sigh of relief, and not just for the PM. The reviews have been glowing. The Australian even gave him 9 out of 10. You've got to admit he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, look, it was great, Sarah, but it makes you wonder why this didn't happen 6 months ago.
Oh, there it is.
All the palaver about. So it was good. It was good. And look, the best day for an agreement between two countries is always the first day it is signed. The issue then often is how it's implemented. Heard a lot of talk about critical minerals before. I signed the first critical minerals deal with the United States in 2019 as Resources Minister. And look, that's great. It's great the countries are committed. It's great that the Prime Minister wants to slash red tape, but what we really need to do is slash energy prices. If our energy prices stay where they are, it's very hard to see how we could compete with China. Indeed, under Anthony Albanese's watch, we've lost our nickel industry. A critical mineral has been lost. The whole industry has been lost. And our other industries like copper, like steel, like aluminium are all just surviving on taxpayer-funded life support because the cost of making things in this country is so high.
So how do you fault yesterday's meeting then, Matt?
Well, as I say, I mean, the meeting is great. You know, and meetings usually are good. There's all a lot of bonhomie and goodwill. The issue will be the follow-up and the action. And that's where I've got questions while ever this government remains committed to a net zero agenda, which is making us one of the highest cost countries in the world.
Look, the follow-up is legitimate, right? And this is the thing. I mean, the critical minerals deal that you mentioned there, this meeting, in fact, came at a perfect time because we're filling the void that is left there by China. David, I guess there are questions that still do linger, though, around what Australia is getting under the AUKUS deal. We don't have a timeline yet. And as we said there, as we've mentioned, the legally binding nature of that critical minerals deal.
I think clearly a successful trip for the PM. And I think particularly when you look at how some other world leaders have been received at the White House. On critical minerals, seems like a great step forward. I think we need to continue to remind both major parties and the government that these minerals belong to all Australians, and we have to make sure that should these things go ahead, and if they are so valuable, that Australians actually receive the benefit of that. You know, we saw a report this week showing that 1 in 7 Australians are now living in poverty, and I think that needs to be front and centre of how we develop these critical minerals here. On AUKUS, yes, still some very serious questions to be answered around the timeline and guarantees. This is a pretty sweet deal for the US. You know, we're shoveling billions and billions of dollars to help their submarine industrial base. There needs to be a guarantee that we're actually going to get something out of this deal.
Well, it seemed to quell any discussion of increasing our defence spending as well. That didn't seem to come up in the meeting. But let's move on to that awkward Kevin Rudd moment. Albo did tell us earlier, though, that they've kissed and made up. Take a listen.
It was pretty light-hearted was what it was. And President Trump said, you know, all is forgiven. He volunteered that. Kevin said, oh, well, sorry about comments in the past, and they moved on.
Matt, does that fix everything?
Well, look, I hope so. I've always wished Kevin the best, and I've actually said I don't want the US to determine who our ambassador is, so I want him to work well. I was a bit worried yesterday when we saw the initial reaction. Hopefully, what the Prime Minister says is true, and Kevin Rudd can establish a workable relationship with senior figures in the Trump administration, because that is going to be key to deliver the benefits from that critical minerals agreement. Well, I think, as I say, it's one thing to sign the paper, it's another to make sure it happens day to day.
Yeah, I mean, I think he proved himself certainly getting all that done yesterday in that cabinet meeting, but I guess Susan Lee's calling for him to be sacked. Do you back that call?
Look, as I say, I want Kevin to succeed. I want Australia to succeed. If it's not working, then he should consider his position. But let's hope it gets back on track.
David, has done enough to stay, you reckon?
I think it's a bit of a beat up. Clearly, there's been some really good work done by the ambassador and the embassy to get to the point where the PM can come in and sign a bunch of things, have a successful meeting. the Batuta Advocate have certainly had a field day after what happened yesterday at the White House.
It was meme after meme, wasn't it? All right, well, speaking of roles and whether they should stay, Matt, the coalition, I mean, at this point in time, is it even a functioning party or is everyone just jumping ship?
Look, I've always said since the election the most important thing for us is to work out what we believe and what we stand for, and that is going to be a little bit messy. We had a lot of unity in the last term, but that unity in the end papered over cracks, and we all saw what happened when we took that approach at the election. And so, look, we have to take this time to get things right. There's a long time before the next election. I hope we do rediscover our fighting spirit, because I don't think we'll have a fighting chance at the next election unless we find some grit, some determination and take on the people that are destroying this country and weakening our economy.
Is Barnaby going to One Nation, and if so, will you follow?
Well, look, I hope not. He hasn't left yet. You know, as I've been saying, I think Barnaby's the political goat when it comes to retail politics. And you know, David would know on a major team, you don't want to lose a rock star player in your team. It makes a big difference. So you want to keep him. Sorry?
What about you? You staying?
Oh, yes. No, I've said no, definitely. It's Nats or bust for me, Sarah. I'll do my best within the party. Sometimes I feel like I'm banging my head against a brick wall, but I will keep doing that until I pass out.
You wouldn't be alone. Well, maybe this can all be settled on the Fitzroy River. Hey, guys, what do you reckon? No crocs, nothing to be seen?
It's all good. All the data's in. It's flat as a tack, and we can row. Let's just get on with it. Let's get on with the Olympics.
All right.
Although I did see Matt's comments about it being so flat that Jesus could walk on water, but from my memory of Sunday school, it was actually pretty choppy when Jesus stepped off the boat. So I think he'd be fine with some waves.
You're not wrong.
I haven't tested it. I haven't tried myself.
OK, we're going to make it happen, Matt. We'll make it happen. Maybe the two of you in the next segment. Guys, thanks so much.